What's going on, everyone? So I wanted to make a video about the Florida Gators schedule prediction for this upcoming year. I usually do it a lot earlier than I'm doing it now, but let's talk about it. So the Florida Gators, 3 straight losing seasons. They didn't even make a bowl game last year. They went 5-7. Listen, this schedule upcoming for the Florida Gator football team is brutal. Everyone knows it. You keep hearing about it. Florida probably has the #1 worst schedule in all of college football. You know, usually back about 15 years ago, it was like, bring it on. You know, if you're a Florida fan, you know, hey, listen, still going to go 11-1, 10-2 at the worst. Now it's like, will Florida even go over 500 or make it to 500? That's where we're at right now with the Florida Gators. And the biggest thing that keeps getting talked about is, will Billy Napier be fired if the Florida Gators win only 5 games, 6 games, if they go 6-6? And if you want Billy Napier fired, listen, I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I need to see it in 3rd year. I need to see some kind of progression before I'm there. But if you want him right now fired, if he goes 5 wins, 6 wins, it's not happening. DJ Lagway, he's got a handcuff right there with Lagway, the #1 quarterback in the 2024 class. He's got that in his back pocket. So he's kind of playing, I'm not saying he's playing with house chips right now, but he's got to show some kind of progression, even in himself. Listen, everyone keeps talking about Billy Napier. There's nothing wrong with the offense. There's nothing wrong with the offense. They score over 30 points a game. Listen, you're just seeing the stats. You're not seeing what he has actually done. He has cost Florida some wins. And I know it's going to hurt some people's feelings with me saying that. But if you go back and look at the Florida State game last year, those are the things that I've seen in the past couple of years for Billy Napier that really irritates me. Is, yes, he can actually, he can call offensive plays very well. I think sometimes he has too much on his plate, and I think he wants to always be the smartest person on the field, and he overthinks some things. Florida State last year is kind of a prime example of why I get frustrated with Billy Napier, is because you have all the momentum. You have all the momentum in the world. You're on the other side of the Florida State field, and on 1st down, you call a double reverse pass, whatever it was, and it took all the momentum away from Florida. Listen, was the play executed very well? No, it was not. It should have never been called in the first place. You don't do that unless you're down, unless you need some kind of boost to your offense. Florida didn't need that at the time. They were rolling, and it's just so frustrating when I see that. It's like, man, this guy just hasn't learned, you know? And yes, he, just like players, coaches start to develop. They start to learn. You know, Billy Napier's not used to the Power 5 as a head coach. So, you know, he needs to learn whenever he's got all the momentum. Don't do anything stupid. It's really that simple. And, you know, some things in life are just simple. And Billy Napier, I think he tries to overthink things at times. And, you know, the thing that really needs to be addressed is Florida's wide receiver screens. I mean, they run about 20 of them a game. It's like, my God, okay, 1 or 2 maybe a game, but holy cow, he loves the wide receiver screens. It's like things that he just can't get away from. Hopefully he develops in his 3rd year. Hopefully he recorrects some of the things that he has made mistakes in over his previous 2 years, because he's made mistakes. Listen, I know people love Billy Napier, the way he talks. He got that southern drawl kind of type, whatever it is. I don't know, it irritates me. He's actually a terrible speaker. If you actually go to SEC Media Days or something, he is horrible. But the one thing he can do is recruit. And I think that is keeping him afloat. And I don't think nobody is really pushing him to be fired, especially anybody at, you know, like Scott Strickland, who is terrible, by the way. That's a different subject. That's a different video for a different day. But if you have watched my channel, you know how much I dislike Scott Strickland. I think he is terrible. I think he's one of the worst ADs that you can actually absolutely have. Actually, I think he might be the worst Florida AD. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look. I think he might be the worst Florida AD ever. But let me get back on topic. Listen, the Florida Gators schedule, we all know it's brutal, okay? They play Texas this year. Kentucky is still, listen, Kentucky has Florida's number right now. Georgia, Texas A&M, Miami. And I know there's been a lot of crap talking to Miami from Florida fans. I'm keeping my mouth shut. because I have no room to talk. Actually, Florida fans should not be talking crap against them with Miami. I'm not going to say we're going to whoop them. I don't think either team is going to whoop anybody. I think it's actually an evenly matched team. Cam Ward coming in from Washington State to Miami. Miami has brought in some good recruits. It's not just Florida bringing in recruits, guys. Miami is bringing in recruits as well. They got a really good transfer portal. Damian Martinez is a running back to watch out for Miami. He is explosive coming from Oregon State. So Florida's got a rough schedule. The only game that you can say they're definitely going to win is Samford. So listen, the schedule prediction. I'm not. Last year I predicted 5 and 7. I was called a dumbass. I was called stupid. I was called all kinds of things. And what was Florida's schedule? 5 and 7. What irritates me is that everybody goes, oh, well, a couple of plays it could have changed. You can say that about 135 other FBS teams. They go, man, that one play. That is football. That is life. That's just the way it goes. You know, and there was actually times where a couple of plays that Florida could have actually went worse than 5 and 7. If you look back at the South Carolina game when they had to convert 6 fourth downs just to win that game. So, you know, it could go both ways. Nobody really understands that, but that's just the game of football. It can come down to 1 or 2 plays. You should never put yourself in those positions. If you want to win by double digits, beat them convincingly. So, you know, now, will I say Florida goes 5 and 7 this year? I think their schedule is worse. I think they've gotten better on both sides of the ball. Not that much better. I don't think it's making that much of difference with the schedule. You know, Graham Mertz, everybody knows how I feel about Graham Mertz. I think he's an average at best quarterback. Yeah, he completed 70% of his passes. Easy to complete 2-yard wide receiver screens or tight end drag routes. So, you know, Graham Mertz, okay at best. He's a filler. We all know DJ Lagway. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing him actually starting about midway through the year. Go ahead and get his feet wet. Get him used to the SEC defenses early. But, you know, 5 and 7, 6 and 6 is probably where I'm at again. You know, I'm not going to go 4 and 8, nothing like that. I think there are some games that Florida's going to win. Of course, Samford, Texas A&M. Up there, UCF is not going to be you're going to beat them by 30 points. They got KJ Jefferson over there. They brought in some good recruits, good transfer portal players as well. So UCF is somebody to watch out for. But, you know, I'm not going to say 4 wins, 5. It could be 6 because Florida has added some talent. Listen, I like Elijah Badger, who they brought over, Eugene Wilson in his second year. I like the wide receivers. You know, even with Mertz, with the little checkdowns, I think Elijah Badger could actually help him out because he's kind of like the Eugene Wilson, who is a stud player after the catch. I mean, he can make defenders miss. Out of Arizona State, who did Florida get a couple years ago out of Arizona State? Ricky Pearsall. Elijah Badger is more explosive than Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall was more of a possession receiver. Elijah Badger is going to be that quick twitch, Eugene Wilson kind of type player. So great after the catch. So there's some guys that Florida brought in the transfer portal. That's awesome. That I'm gonna like to see. They lost a couple players. Of course, ETN went to Georgia. Big explosive running back. I think that's gonna hurt Florida throughout the season. I know people are like, well, he can't block. Well, he can do a lot of things that these other running backs for Florida can't do. Montrell Johnson he's going to be a bell cow horse in the backfield for Florida. But, you know, 5 and 7, 6 and 6 is where I'm at. Again, I'm not going to say convincingly. Last year I was very dead on about 5 and 7. I was like, yeah, I just don't see it. This year I could see them going 6 and 6, even with the schedule, how rough it is. But unfortunately, that would be a win. And it's gotten that sad, gotten that pathetic as Florida fans that were like, hey, we'll be happy with 6 and 6. Unfortunately, that's where we're at right now with Florida. But hopefully it'll change over the next couple of years. It's got to, especially with Lagway waiting in the wings, learning. And who knows if we'll see him this year. It would be exciting, you know. But I guess we'll just have to see how the season unfolds. Florida needs to get off to a quick start. That is the main thing. You got to get some momentum throughout the season. If you go 0-1, that is not going to be good for Florida. It will not be good for the fan base because we all know Miami and Florida, there's a rivalry right there. And it's getting worse. Like, I just see it week after week. I'm hearing so much chatter with Florida and Miami fans. I'm keeping my mouth shut because I know better. I know my role and shut my mouth. So guys, as always, I appreciate y'all watching these videos. And listen, football season back in, I'll be making more along with my brothers who are Florida State fans, and that's going to be irritating. But hey guys, as always, I appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I'll catch y'all next time.